Well, I told you guys, this is Frank, Everything Black. We on YouTube live tonight. I don't know if it's live or I'm recording it for later. But I told y'all Jasmine wasn't winning. She didn't stop by the FDA. She didn't check in with the new black media. So here we go. Let's hear what she got to say.
All Coleman. He beat me to the punch as myself and Colin all read. We're about to file a lawsuit. We were able to keep the polls open. But I can tell you now that people have been disenfranchised. The reason that we knew that there were problems is because we were receiving the phone calls and the emails. The polls were supposed to stay open until 9, according to a court order. The Supreme Court, just a few minutes ago, just said, shut it down. Once there was a court order saying you had until 9, I'm sure that there were people that joined the line after 7. They now are telling them that you have to separate what votes are to be tallied from election day out of Dallas County. For sure, we won't know that tonight. I want you to enjoy yourselves, but I won't be back tonight because I have no idea we're going to get results, and I fully anticipate it won't be until tomorrow.
So you heard her. Y'all heard her. She said that she wouldn't be back out tonight. She figured it'll be tomorrow before she get the finishing results of the election. And I told y'all that if you don't check with the grassroots, if you don't check with the FBAs, he wasn't going to win. I don't know how many times I got to tell people, just because you black now don't mean that you're going to get black votes. We're looking for people who are going to give us tangible, who's going to give us an anti-hate crime bill, black hate crime bill for black people. We need those two things, or else you won't be getting my vote, and I'm pretty sure you won't be getting none of the FBA's vote, but I don't speak for all FBA. But we do follow the code, and as far as we know, as far as I know, Jasmine Crockett had nothing to offer Foundation Black Americans. She didn't even mention us. So when you don't mention Foundation Black Americans, you don't get our vote. Especially if you have nothing tangible to offer, or an anti-hate crime bill, anti-black hate crime bill for black people. So until we get that, you probably won't. We're probably still sitting on the couch eating popcorn. But I've just been noticing here lately, that it's been a lot of brutality. Well, let's listen to the guy that beat Jasmine Crockett. Let's check him out. Hold on a minute. Here you go.
Hello, and thank you for joining us from MS Now World Headquarters. I'm Britt Miller. We have some breaking news to bring you right now out of Texas. The Associated Press has officially called the Texas Democratic Senate primary for State Representative James Tallarico. About 84% of the votes are counted right now. Tallarico receiving 53.2% of that. Jasmine Crockett, receiving about 45.5%. We're going to join analyst David Parkinson to sort of go through the numbers and talk about how we arrived here. David, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. And I can tell you that we have been watching all night a huge amount of vote coming in for the early vote, and then we will see enough of that data come in to make the call. In fact, the tipping point was down in Bexar County, that's San Antonio, and we got enough of that election day vote in, now 90% of the total vote in, giving James Tallarico more of candidates, and then you had at least about a third of the vote coming in during the election day, and that was sort of the tipping point county. Interestingly enough, the two largest counties in Texas do not actually have to continue for an extra 2 hours, and then the state Supreme Court decided to actually walk that back, and so the vote advantage. So even if in Dallas County you had an extra 100,000 votes left to be counted, and she got 60 to 70% of that, that's not enough to overcome the advantage. The other spot where we're still waiting for a lot of vote to come in is Harris County. That's now up to 73% of the vote counted. Jasmine Crockett pulling just above half of the vote there. But what you can see in that county, again, is she's only sitting on about a 13,000 vote difference. Even if she picked up 10 or 15,000 more votes on James Tallarico, it would not be enough for her to overcome some of his overperformance. So let's talk about where James Tallarico did exceptionally well, and that's the I-35 corridor. So first, his home county, Travis, Austin. Take a look at this. You've got 75.5% of the county voting for James Tallarico. More than 99% of the vote is in. So it's basically all counted, and he's really run up the numbers there. But then as you look at some of the surrounding counties, Williamson was another one where there's some voting issues. We don't have all of their election day vote in, so we're expecting James Tallarico to add to his margin here in Williamson County. Right now, he has about 72% of the vote there. And then as we head south down towards Bexar County, which we talked about earlier, Comal County and Hayes County, you can see in each of those places along I-35, James Tallarico did exceptionally well. The other place James Tallarico did well was down in the Rio Grande Valley. So Cameron County, which is where Brownsville is, we're a lot of vote there. A quarter of the vote from Election Day is still missing in Cameron County, but you can see James Tallarico with the lead there. He will add to his lead as more of those votes come in. And then as we go to each county around the Rio Grande Valley, whether it's Hidalgo, whether it's Starr, whether it's Zapata, all of these counties have a lead. And if you are the Democratic Party hoping to take back this seat from the Republicans, it starts down to win that area in order to be competitive. And then you also need to win in some of the suburbs. So Denton County, which is just north of the metro, it is actually some of the northern suburbs of the Metroplex. James Talarico won that one. It's more conservative. It's got a more evangelical population.
Well, y'all heard it. Y'all saw it. I think it was some, the Democrat really didn't want Jasmine to win. So, she would have won Dallas County, but because she's well known there and that was her district. But the rest of the Texas, wasn't feeling her. And like I say, FBA wasn't feeling her. So she had a fight on her hand. And you would always hear them talking about they on a fight. They fighting. What are they fighting for? Besides the immigrants and the LGBTQ. That's all the Democrats fight for. They don't fight for Foundation Black Americans for sure. So there you have it. And we're about to go into something else that I was looking at today. Give me 1 second. All right, let's look at this. This is breaking news. Uh-oh. Give me 1 second. Let's see. So as you can see, the race soldiers are back doing their thing. They didn't want ICE to do their thing. They wanted to do their thing by jumping on black people, by finding some black people to put their racism on, put their hatred on, take out their anger. So as you can see, this officer, or this race soldier, I'm gonna call him, pushed down a brother who he found asleep in the car. And I'm pretty sure the brother was trying to explain that to him, but he didn't want to hear it. So instead of de-escalating, a race soldier, they're gonna escalate. They want to hurt you. So he pushed the guy down. The guy hit his head on the concrete and apparently died on transport to the hospital or had severe brain damage. So they're back. They're ready to get started. They couldn't wait. And family, keep your eyes out, keep your eyes open, be ready. Because they're getting ready. This is March. And a lot of police brutality. This is like the month of sacrifice or something like that. And this is the time where the racists start pulling in and touching on black people around this time. So y'all be careful out there when you get pulled over. You never know when you're gonna run into one of those race soldiers. And usually they try to end your life. So here's another one I want y'all to check out. These are back to back, man. So y'all see, they're back. They're ready. That's in Miami. The other one was in Baltimore. The race soldiers are fired up. They're ready to pull you out your car. They're ready to knock you on the ground. They're ready to pull the trigger. They're ready. If they can't pull the trigger, they're going to try to beat you to death. They're going to tell you to stop resisting. Stop resisting while they're trying to break your arm or choke you out. We've been through this before. Black men, black women, black children, be on alert. This is March. A lot of this stuff happened around March. It's some type of sacrifice day, a year or a month. Y'all be careful. The race soldiers are out here and they're ready. Let's take a look at this again. So yeah, they want to pull you out your car. They want to gang tackle you. They got to have their other crew with them. They try to cover up what they're doing, what one guy's doing, what the other. I mean, they ready. They've been itching all year to reach out and touch one of us. They're ready to reach out and touch us. They're ready. They've been itching, like I said, all year. This is what race soldiers do. They pull your hair, one pulling your hair, one hitting you in the back, the other one trying to break your arm. And they're all hollering, stop resisting. That's the cue. Once they and look at, they put a man over for tent. Dark tent. And he's ending up on the ground. I don't know if he got killed. Let me back it up and let's find out what exactly happened. If he got killed or he just got beaten. I think he just got beaten real bad. You know. So, I mean, come on, guys. Be careful, fam, especially FBA. They can't wait. They itching. It's been a minute, And, they've been on the immigrants, but it ain't been the cops on the immigrants. It's been ICE on the immigrants. I mean, they doing their job, you know what I mean? But race soldiers can't do their job when ICE is around, so they need ICE to move out the way so they can grab them a black man, a black person, and beat them up. And if they can get away with it, they would unalive you. It depends on how much resistance you give them. How quick can they break your arm or choke you out before you pass out? And sometimes when you pass out, you're gonna wake up. And believe it or not, all these states already have money for this situation. You know what I mean? They already got money put back stashed for situations just like this when they run across one of us and want to harm us and unalive us. That's why we need an anti-black hate crime bill. We need that immediately. And also, Jasmine, Crockett, we need tangible. This is why we need tangible. This is why we need an anti-black hate crime bill, Jasmine. And all the black politicians out there and all the Democrats and the Republicans, we need this hate crime bill for black people, especially and exclusively for us. We need protection from these race soldiers. I mean, they ready to go. They ready to get busy. They love it when it's 3-on-1. Man, look at them. Well, they can't wait. They're itching. Look at them. They put in his hair. They're trying to break his arm. Well, sis, I don't think you know. This is why they hire these race soldiers. This is why they go from one police department to the next to do harm to black people. This is the whole reason why they join the force. They can get away with brutality and unaliving you. They can get away with it. It's very seldom that we have been able to prosecute these race soldiers. The only reason we have is because black people have pushed and pushed and pushed and finally got some jurors to stand up and do right. And you got to know that this juror is only, there's race soldiers in the jury. I mean, it's races in the jury box. So when you get into that situation with a race soldier, it's either life or death at that point. And if you're able to survive, you may get compensated for them, which they, like I said, they already got the paper, the money set up for brutality and set up for unalivement. They hire and look for people like these race soldiers. Remember, the FBI said back in the early 80s, late 80s, early 90s that the Ku Klux Klanners took off their sheets and put on the uniform. So you must know that they look for these guys, they wait for these guys, they recruit these guys. And they're angry. They want to harm you. Well, because you're dark and they're white. That's the only reason. And after they do something toward us, they can go home and sit with their family and eat like it wasn't nothing. These are the children of the people that we see hang black people in a tree. Set them on fire. They call that a picnic. These are the children of those people. So Black family, just be aware that this is the month that they look for you. I'll be praying for you, and I hope you pray for me that we either can overcome them, or we don't even come near them. You know what I mean? But they are out there and they're waiting and they're itching to harm you. You'll know when you run across one. You'll know he's looking for any reason to pop you in your head, knock you on the ground, choke you, break your arm, and possibly unalive. I saw something else too. I'm gonna see if I can. Hold on. Yeah, I think it's time to move if possible. But this is what happens when you stay in the hood. Y'all know, and you don't have no help from the police because most of them are trying to be race soldiers. So, man, it's just rough when you in an area where you have that kind of activity going on. You just have to get on your city for that. We all have to get together in that neighborhood and go to one of those city council meetings and get those cops out there to kind of control the neighborhood. That's one thing you can do, or you can just strap up and be ready. And I don't really think that you have to kill somebody, but when it's like that, you don't want to hurt nobody just to stay in your car. But damn, I think they done hit her up several times in a few years. So, but hopefully, the sister can get out of that neighborhood or come up with some type of patrol in that area. Get with the men in the area. I noticed I didn't see any men that they was stealing cars from, but you know that happened to us too. So ladies, just find the men in the neighborhood and you know ask for protection, ask for a neighborhood watch or something to keep those guys from coming and stealing your car. Because I know that insurance is about to go up. Anyway, this is Everything Black. Thank y'all for joining me. Like and subscribe. And if you're a business owner, you want to come on my show and talk about your business, I would appreciate it. I appreciate promoting you. You know, if you want to sponsor my show, just hit me up. Let me get my number on the screen. Give me 1 second. Nothing want to work when you nothing want to work when you're working. Let me get that number on the screen. Nothing want to work. There my number is on the screen, y'all. Let me make it bigger for you. Y'all hit me up. Y'all see that number at the bottom of the screen? For YouTube, Facebook, on the news channel. Anyway, thank y'all for joining me tonight. I hadn't been able to do show because, you know, hey, I'm working and, you know, when I get in this room, I'll be wore out. But anyway, thank y'all for joining me tonight. Look forward to seeing you next time. It's Everything Black. Thank you again.